Good afternoon, everyone. Jonathan Davis here with Davis Autosports. Please pay attention to this video. Watch the entire video. We're going to give you guys, the buyer, many different options to buy this Jeep. We're going to go over those options pretty vaguely in this video, but on our website, they're going to be actual detail prices and options for within each option, if you will. Rarely do we offer Jeeps like this. We just got this Jeep in. We haven't touched it. We haven't buffed it. We haven't detailed it. And there's reasoning for that, and we'll go over that in the video. Briefly, though, some of the options require different things, so we're not going to double up work and everything else. So we are viewing a 98 Cherokee XJ, obviously, four-door, four-wheel drive, manual transmission. What makes this Cherokee really, really special besides the four-door manual part? It's a one-owner Jeep with 72 service records on Carfax with a flawless Carfax. Those aren't 72 individual services done. Those were visits. So within each one of those 72 visits, multiple things were done. This is one of the most thoroughly serviced XJs we've ever had in. It's top three. The other two came from one particular owner, and I sold both of those Cherokees about 6 months ago. That can be viewed. I've never seen a Cherokee this well documented in service. It's absolutely phenomenal. In addition to the previous and only owner servicing this thing religiously, they also just recently, within the last couple years, got it completely repainted. It's not a DAS paint job. It's not a $10,000 to $15,000 paint job, but it is a very good paint job overall. It also wasn't just done, so there's some slight imperfections and chips here and there. As you see, the previous owner also installed a very nice set of classic charcoal wheels. Goes great with the color. Absolutely beautiful little color combo right here. The four-door manuals, very hard to come across. One owner truck. Extremely clean undercarriage, 72 service records, and a beautiful, beautiful truck. Now, mileage on this truck, and this is going to tie into some of the options that we give you to buy, and I'll go over a couple of those now. The Jeep has 240,000 miles. It drives perfect. It doesn't burn oil. Good compression. The life of this engine is great. Now, it still has 240. It could last another 100. It could start having issues in 20,000 miles. I'm just being open, and that's the case with any engine. It could go another 200,000 miles. You just don't know. Option one to purchase this Jeep is the exact way you see it, without us doing any work to it. If there's a chip here, the chip stays there. If there's a stain here, the stain stays there. And I'll still go over on our website everything that this Jeep needs or currently has to help you with your decision. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is go over all the imperfections of the Jeep right now, so you can take those into consideration whether you want to buy it now or some of our different options. The previous owner also, it appears these are not armor-all, so it looks like they refinished the flares. Looks like they did a really good job, almost like a little DAS makeover, if you will, that they did. We touched on the wheels. They look really good. So the paint, it's been repainted, factory color. This thing wasn't completely disassembled and, you know, the whole shebangs, but it looks really, really good for what it is. There's still some chips here in the header panel. Now, those are easy to touch up, not a big deal. This isn't metal, so that won't rust or anything if those are exposed. Some would say, well, why don't you touch those up? Because option three is going to be a full restoration, which this makes a phenomenal restoration project because it's a four-door manual. So that's why we're not going to make it a little bit nicer if we're going to completely bring it down to bare metal and completely restore it. If we weren't as busy as we are in the shop right now, that's the only way I would do this, but we're going to give you guys the option nonetheless. Also, I do want to tell you there are a few dents, little dings, some PDR dents that even if you buy it the way it is, we can still do a couple things for you here and there to, you know, make it a little bit nicer. There's a PDR dent right there that needs to come out that does not require any paint work. With PDR, paintless dent removal, a lot of the dents will come out 100%. Some will come out 95%. It just really depends the severity of the dent, the angles of the dent, where they're located within the body, whether they're in a flat panel or a crease. So just keep that in mind. PDR doesn't mean it'll look like a dent was never there. Looks like they painted the back bumper, the bumper caps. I'll tell you what would make this paint look really good as well is a paint correction to give it a good wet sand, and that's something that we can offer the buyer as well. Bottom of the rocker panel is very, very clean. Front grille, cracked. These are very inexpensive. We stock these here in house, so that's something that we can easily rectify no matter how you buy it. Just a really classy looking XJ. And I'll tell you one thing that I can really appreciate is when they don't have tint, it just has a really old, natural, nostalgic look, in my opinion. The privacy glass is nice when you're in it, but also the clear glass, there's just something about it that's kind of cool and funky, if you ask me. So, but beautiful paint overall. There are some slight imperfections. There's a PDR, as you see, one there. As I move around, you can see those right there. Rockers, super clean. And once again, those wheels, just perfect color for this Jeep. I wish the sun was out, because this paint actually, when the shade's out, it looks more of a, it becomes a darker color, but when the sun hits it, it's much lighter, and it's actually a better looking paint when the sun is reflecting off of it. Roof was painted as well. So this is what I refer to as like a tape line job. They removed a lot of easy parts like the belt moldings when they painted it. They also removed the door handles, which is nice, but like they didn't take out the glass. A lot of shops don't do that. They'll tape around it, pull the trim back. So it's definitely a mediocre to good paint job. I would probably guess, depending on where they went, it was probably like a $5K paint job. This thing drives absolutely phenomenal. There's some rock chips here and there that have been touched up as well. So inside for the miles, 240, extremely clean, manual windows. The side seat vinyl is cracked. That's something we can repair or leave as is. The carpets are clean. There's WeatherTech floor liners. The seats are in good condition overall. There's no issues with them whatsoever. Top of the steering wheel is nice and clean. Manual, as I touched on. All the panels and everything are clean. That door has a typical padding starting to come off, which is very common in these as well. But if someone is looking for a nice Jeep manual, 4-wheel drive, this is really it. One thing, and I'm not saying this due to this Jeep, I say this all the time to a lot of my customers when it comes to Tacomas, 4Runners, Cherokees, and I even practice this in my own life, especially like with my kids or family member. I personally much rather buy a high mileage Jeep, or any vehicle for that matter, that has been extremely well cared for and serviced, than a mid-mileage vehicle that you don't know the history. It's had multiple owners, and I don't put a lot of emphasis on whether a vehicle is a 1-owner or 3-owner, because if all 3 owners took great care of it, then that's fine. But when you do find a 1-owner that's been as serviced as well as this, obviously they spent the money on the paint job, they obviously cared about it, so a lot of other things that you just don't know about will add up to be, you know, it was well taken care of, appreciated, loved, etc., and that really means a lot. So 72 service visits with multiple services per visit. Not too long ago, the entire AC system was replaced. I mean, this thing is up to date on everything. We have a lot of pictures of the undercarriage. It's in great condition. So option one, also make sure to go to our website when you want to look at these different options. That way you'll see actual details of what they're going to include. So option one is to essentially buy this Jeep the way it is. Within that option one, if you want us to do a few things like the PDR, replace the grille, the headlights they actually look pretty good. But if you wanted to change them to like LEDs, if you wanted us to do smaller things like that, we'll be more than happy to do that. I also want to point something out to you guys too. This particular single panel has some clear coat coming off. There's no clear coat coming off anywhere else on the Jeep, but I do want to point that out. Another thing, when they did paint it, they did remove like the antenna base and stuff like that. So they did remove a good amount of parts. They removed the fender flares, the lights, the grille. So I'm probably giving them a little less credit than they deserve, the body shop, but I just base everything off of what we do here. So anyways, I know I get sidetracked with you guys. So option one, just went through it. Option two is going to be pretty flexible on some things, but it's going to keep the Jeep the way it is. As far as the overall look, we're not going to repaint it, but we will do a stage 2 package, which is a full 3-inch suspension package, full steering package, a couple additional things. The engine is serviced, but we will consider and put it an option within option 2 of replacing the engine. And then option 3 is pretty much going to be like a full restoration. If someone has been dying for a 4-door manual, brand new, perfect, then that's what we're going to create this thing. Repaint it. Some people say, hey man, it's been painted. Well, if someone is looking for the perfect brand new Jeep, this Jeep will need a paint job, in our opinion. Panels redone, replaced, etc. So we're going to have those options clearly laid out. Within a new engine, we don't ever just do an engine. We do all corresponding parts, cooling system, injectors, fuel, all that sort of stuff. But I don't really want to do that. I think this Jeep would make an awesome Jeep the way it is. Some small improvements to it. And even this Jeep with a stage 2 package, this would be a beautiful Jeep, 3-inch lift, 31s. You can even leave these wheels to save some money because they're really good looking wheels. They go well with the color. And even then we can do some things to service the engine and everything else. And if you wanted to do like just a basic rebuild with pistons and rings and all that sort of stuff, we can. But I'm telling you, this thing for the miles drives perfect. And I personally, if I was buying it, wouldn't do anything to the engine until it absolutely needed it. Because you could get another 150,000 miles out of it. You could, not saying you're going to, but you easily could, and then replace it once it goes bad. But if you look at the service history of this thing, and these things are known to run forever if taken care of, there's no reason to replace it. This engine is smooth as can be. The clutch has recently been replaced as well. And that's the thing with a high mileage vehicle that's been taken care of and serviced is, yeah, the miles are high, but if you buy 150 or 130,000 miles and none of the big stuff has been done, you're going to pay a lot for that Jeep because of the miles, and then you're going to pay a lot in ownership over the next couple years and replacing big ticket items. I have a diesel truck of mine with 500,000 miles on it. Original motor, original turbo, original transmission, and it's because I maintenance it and I take care of it. And I drive that truck personally to go pick up all the exotic cars that I buy. Anything that I buy or sell that requires heavy towing, I use that truck. And a lot of those 500,000, it's got 480,000 to be exact. A lot of those miles are towing 10 to 15,000 pounds, which puts stress on it, but it's all about how you take care of things. I'm sort of seem like I'm going over the road because I'm holding the wheel and Steadicam with one hand as I'm trying to shift. Those lights that you see in the cluster, that's just an arrow light to indicate to shift gears. Zero drivetrain noise, none whatsoever. There's no roaring from the differential, transmission, transfer case, engine smooth as can be. We had our computer system on here. Oil pressure is phenomenal. It's just, it would almost be a shame to rebuild it, but for someone looking for a brand new Jeep, we'll be more than happy to do so. But this thing just drives absolutely perfect. Clutch is nice and firm and tight as it should be. Like I said, it has been replaced. That light right there is just the indicator to shift gears. I'm in third gear. I'm going to go ahead and go into fourth, and as you see, it goes away. You obviously don't have to shift. We were probably at 2,700 RPMs there. No vibration of the steering wheel, no vibration when you hit the brakes. Steering's nice and tight. Track straight going down the road. All the buttons and knobs are very, very clean. Non-smoker. I'll tell you another cool thing about this Jeep. Original windshield. 240,000 miles on this windshield. No cracks, no big chips. How they did that, I don't know. Top of the steering wheel, it's not gummed up. It doesn't shift back and forth. It's not loose. I'm still in third gear right now, trying to maintain third coming through here. We'll go ahead and drop it in a second. So a lot of these 4.0 engines will start to get some, you know, they get top end noise, they get bottom end noise. Speaking of the engine, of course, they get wrist pin noise, lifter noise. 4.0s are very noisy engines, both naturally with nothing wrong with them, and then they can start to develop issues where they can still keep going, whether it's a lifter or lifters, wrist pins, as I mentioned. Anything top or bottom end valve train. This engine sounds smooth as can be. There's no noises whatsoever, cold or hot, low RPM, high RPM. It's truly incredible. But as I say, you change the oil, take care of it, treat it as you should, and it will take care of you. And that goes for the rest of this drive line as well. The steering, it really goes for everything. Suspension, when we go over bumps, there's no hard clunking or anything like that. All the bushings are nice and tight. It's incredible this Jeep has 240,000 miles. Even the wiper blades are nice Rain-X, which are little things like that. Those, if you go to advanced, those are one of the most expensive ones there. They're still probably only 20-25 bucks, but you can get those wiper blades for $6-7 bucks, and just to see that, you know, there's the nicest ones on there really speaks a lot. Completely up to date on the oil change. Next one's not due to 243, so it was just done. The gear shifter, look how clean and nice it is. The boot. So I think the best deal for somebody is to buy this thing the way it is, have us do some small little things to it, or a stage 2, but mechanically, I think it's good the way it is. You'll love it and enjoy it. And to find a 4-door manual in this condition that's original and this well cared for, good luck. All right, guys, if you guys have any questions, 855-XJ Jeeps. That is 855-955-3377. I can tell you, if you're watching this on YouTube, go to our website to get additional information. So this will hit YouTube first, and then our website page will go live after that. This Jeep is going to sell extremely fast. So if you're interested, give us a call. It's not going to last, I promise you. The last 4 that we listed in this way with giving the buyer the option, they all sold within a day. So once again, 855-955-3377. Thank you.